flag was taken down and we're going to get a new one, I understand. Is that correct? Maybe not.
We will.
Just send that one out for dry cleaning. Anyway,
Yeah.
recognitions. Any recognitions? Okay. We need to approve or amend the agenda. Anything on that?
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay, it has been moved that we approve the agenda. A second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The agenda is approved. Public comment?
None.
Okay. How about we approve the consent agenda, paying the bills? Is there a motion?
I move that we
It
approve.
has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Motion passes. Program evaluations, athletic program.
You had it in your packet.
Okay.
Wasn't anything, we were gonna, nothing big to report, I think the biggest thing, Matt has mentioned that our new baseball coach, Coach Savage, has been out and about a lot of places and seen, so.
Yep, I've heard good things. You guys heard anything all positive? Yep. Okay, any other comments on the program evaluation for athletics? Seeing none?
I did have a question. On the fall, spring sports, is that high school, it would be, I guess, baseball? That says that 136.
Probably.
Is that the gate?
Is that what that is? I just thought that was pretty low.
No, it won't be any games.
Why do you
So
think
where
it
do we get
was?
$136?
Actually, one game, that's when we played Cassville, the Arkansas Naturals. They
Oh,
make
they
your
did.
charge
Okay.
gate, and
Okay,
so
okay,
between us and Cassville, they split it.
okay.
So that's what our
That
half was.
was my only
Yeah,
question.
because normally we don't have a game, you're right.
We'll take it, we'll take it.
Good deal. All right. We need to approve that, or we just move on?
We'll do them together.
Okay. And now curriculum. Wonder who's gonna talk about curriculum?
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Well, it was either A or B. It just doesn't never
At
know.
least you didn't say thing one or thing two.
I wouldn't do that.
I put everything out in the
Big itself, though.
packet. I'll take any questions that you have.
We don't do star reading anymore, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
What do we do?
Nothing. I'm kidding.
As far as testing, we do a variety, we do DRA right now is the main one we do.
I was just thinking of it because of the dyslexia screening that's in the star, that's why I
Right.
thought we had that, so.
We had to build our own dyslexia screener because there's not a single screener that fits all the criteria. And it would have been at significant cost. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
We got together with a number of people, they're listed there in your paperwork, and put together a screener for each grade level that cost the district ink and paper. That was it.
Your labor.
Technically.
Technically.
So the changeover from one to the other on curriculum, do you see any, what kind of goals or what we're looking at, Scott, on your end?
Well, I've been studying everything that Jeff sent me because I already graciously made it appear on my computer, everything that he had saved and everything. And then Jeff and I have been in close contact, particularly about the dyslexia screening, because that's kind of the first thing that's come down. So we have all those packets ready. And we're gonna be doing training for the teachers. I think it's on the 9th or 10th. August 10th. So we've got someone from Southwest Center coming down for that, to talk to all our K through 3 teachers. We've kind of jumped ahead a little bit, and we've given everything to one teacher. And she's actually going to be doing the screening on some of her kids, her own kids. And we're going to film that, and that way we always have, this is the way it's supposed to be done. And that way, any future trainings, turnover, whatever you may have, then we always have that continuity of how we're going to be doing the screening.
One of the challenges, the reason to do that, one of the challenges is that it's easy to lose that
you start off strong and then you don't, and you train people and they do a good job, and then through turnover or just through, you know, not being as invigorated about it, you lose it. So if you, and that's a great idea those guys came up with, that you film it, then you can always go back and say, you know, as people go in, you don't have to have the hardcore 4-hour training. You can go back and watch and say, oh, okay. So it's a really good idea. And that's one of the things that Jeff and Scott have talked about, is creating a portfolio or creating a file of videos that people can reference back, and start doing that as a part of our curriculum.
Probably another thing on that dyslexia screen too, it will help, though it's a pain, it will help. For 1st through 3rd grade, you have to do that twice in the year. You do once in the first month, and you have to do it again. So they're gonna have ample practice to do it multiple times that way.
They do it on every student, or is it only ones that they can,
Every
student?
And that's every student.
K through 3rd, kindergarten has to be done, completed by January 31st. Everybody else was in the first 30 days.
And then again?
And then again.
second
So-
semester.
Yeah, I'm with you, yeah, I'm with you, And then, just determining if we're catching them or not, basically?
Well, what you're doing is, we're not gonna diagnose it, but what we're gonna say is these students appear to be at risk for dyslexia or another disorder.
Okay.
The one nice thing about this is you're gonna have the teachers are gonna do this. And so even if, you know, I'm testing someone and maybe they have a single characteristic that they scored low on, maybe they're not at risk for dyslexia, but the teacher now knows for reading, they have issues with this. So now they can do something to try to remediate that.
Okay.
We thought that was a home run.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times, you know, the state gives us those mandates, and honestly, sometimes they're a little hard and tough to do, but we've talked at length about that. Because of our RTI and what we do at the grade schools, having the teachers do these tests will help us a lot, because we're gonna diagnose those few, the national average, that are gonna be dyslexic or at risk. But then we're gonna know on every kiddo what they're suffering with, whether it's phonemic awareness or whatever. And then that teacher, because the teacher's doing the test, knows that kid pretty intimately. When they go and assign them their RTI group, they'll know exactly where to put them to remediate that. Because we know if we get them up to reading level by 3rd or 4th grade, they're gonna be good. We know that. I mean, that's proven. That's in the data. So if we can get them there, and that's gonna help us, and just kind of come to us by way of a mandate, but it's gonna really help us.
The toughest thing will just be getting it done in the first 30 days. It's just
Is this gonna be a one-on-one testing or a whole group testing?
one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Well, that's
So
good.
it'll have the same thing like DRA, where you'll have to have someone watching the class, or, I mean, 'cause that is a.
It's either gonna be
legit-
that, or we're gonna have to try to figure
Get a substitute, or,
something, you know, just because
yeah, it's a
it's,
logistical.
you know, that the actual test itself might take 6
Mhm.
minutes.
Is
But
it computer
But you gotta do everyone
generated?
at no.
Is it a paper?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
For instance, I give you the paper and it's just like, okay, bat. Now say the word without the B. And they're supposed to say at. You know, that's the type of thing it is. And then it's recognizing, okay, they've got the sheet, and it's like, okay, what is that? Triangle. What is that? Square. What is that color? Red. What is that color? Blue. And I mean, and all the teacher's doing is check, check, miss, check, check, miss, 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 check.
Rapid naming within
Yeah.
a minute. 3 of the tests on kindergarten and first are 1-minute tests.
But, yeah, it's just, still, it's time.
Yeah,
Testing,
just getting
yeah.
them in and getting them out. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
And
a-
making sure the other kids aren't, yeah,
Yeah.
they're entertained.
Right
while-
enough.
Yeah. So we'll still do DRA too?
Mhm.
Same.
Any other changes coming up that curriculum wise?
Well, we're kind of waiting a little bit on the test scores to come back.
Yeah,
'cause
we really don't have
don't-
those back until the end of October.
End of October.
Yeah, they've pushed them way back now.
So we'll need to make adjustments. I mean, we'll find some gaps there, I'm sure, as to what we're teaching versus what they're asking for. And it's not that we're really gonna teach necessarily different concepts, we're just maybe teach them a different way. So that when the kid takes the test, they can apply what they've learned in the way that the test is gonna ask. And we picked our power standards for each grade level too, to help on that in each content area. So we know we're focusing on the things that are always gonna be important, for every grade level and for life.
Okay.
So,
this is the new test they created after
Mhm.
the core curriculum came
Mhm.
through, and then, so we've only had this 1 year? or
Yeah, this
2
was the
years?
first year.
First,
This is the
okay.
first test
Okay.
for it, and I'm
So
sure
then-
that's part of the reason the state is probably having to look at those pretty hard, because they're probably all over the place.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
I would
they may
imagine.
actually change them, and then you're adapting to that test, is that?
You're
that
adapting
cost-
all the time,
Yeah.
yeah. Curriculum is an ongoing.
Probably what they're really looking at though is where they want to place the passing score.
Cut score.
Just because, like Mr. Patterson said, it's brand new, so I mean, if everybody was like,
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna lower the bar a little bit, or if it seems like everybody was knocking it out of the park,
yeah.
we'll put it up a little bit higher. So,
And it does look
See where
different than the
curve is.
test of the past. I mean, it does,
It does.
so, yeah.
Better or worse?
Just different.
It's just different.
Not necessarily better or worse. I mean, that's a fair question, but I'd say just different, really.
Like, for example, you know, third grade and fifth grade always had a big writing thing, and they didn't this year, now fourth grade did. You know, it was just different,
Right
I can't,
around.
yeah.
Mhm. They moved social studies
Mhm.
things, they slid them down grade-wise. Fractions, they slid
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
Yeah.
So the kiddos are learning them earlier, so.
And it's online testing, so they're, you know,
Yeah.
manipulating that as well.
and this test was called what?
Well, it's EOC on the high school.
That-
It's still called
MAP,
math.
Yeah.
still
Oh,
called MAP, it's
okay.
just a different iteration of it.
Okay.
And the EOCs, they also changed.
For algebra and English 10, and
Government.
Social studies.
Mm.
Okay.
They changed it a little bit, or changed?
oh, that's,
Completely
I'm
changed.
assuming, I got my government scores back, I got those back quick, but I'm assuming the algebra and the English 10 was significant changes. It was a lot more, for the English, it was a lot more writing intensive, you know, just composing a story and all that. So, and they must be actually taking their time and reading them this time, because normally we got it back pretty quick.
You said you got government scores back,
Yeah,
and what did they,
I'd probably, and don't hold me to it, I'd say probably 70% were proficient advanced. So Ms. Wagner did a really good job with them. So they really did.
okay.
The other good thing is since we're still both in-house, I mean, if he has a question, or something that we've crossed paths before, I can tell him we've been talking quite a bit, just to make sure we don't drop the ball or anything.
Okay,
Well, I really want to see about 95%, okay, Scott?
Yeah.
We're
It's
great.
on that.
good job.
Thank you,
Anything
Jeff.
else? Okay. We have to approve these together. Okay. Is there a motion that we approve the evaluations?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve program evaluations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Reports, I think you're up, Chief.
Yep, enrollment, we ended the year at 1293. Hopefully it grows back up during the, we'll start over 1,300, we just don't wanna drop below that. Hopefully we will stay solid this year instead of continuing to drop. I don't know how to predict that, we don't have any algorithms or anything in place to predict that, and with our transient population, it's really hard, so.
Do we know where we were last year at the end?
At the end, we ended at 1322 at the end of last year. Yep.
Okay, and then they take the state takes at September, is that when you turn in that ADA, what's the number that we can use, you know?
Our number for next year, it's weighted ADA, so it's 1,453 or 55. 1,455 is what our state funding will be based on next year. Because it's a 3-year rolling average, plus it's weighted, so the more kids on free and reduced lunches, the more limited English proficiency kids, they get more money. So our weighted ADA for last year was 1,456, and next year it's gonna be 1,455, so or for this coming year, the 18-19 school year. So we've lost, on that we lost 1 student. So that's what it'll be based on this year. So we've been able to pretty much accurately predict our state funding for the first time in a while.
But they take that number from September, October, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's September enrolled, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
Last Thursday in September.
last Thursday, September, okay. That's what I was thinking.
Wednesday, sorry,
Last
last
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So we should be, hopefully, and really what we need it to be is about what it was this September, and hopefully we stay there, I hope grow, that would be the hope, but as long as we stay steady, then we'll be able to, we'll stop bleeding money.
It's a drastic drop, that's.
Yeah,
killing.
and that's why it's done on a 3-year cycle, so you can see it coming and absorb it. And
I see.
that's, that way you can see it, make your adjustment in your budget before it hit, the big drop hits, so it doesn't happen in a year.
Mhm.
You lose 100 kids in a year, and then, that's,
Yeah.
100 kids
Oh,
is
yeah.
$600,000,
Yeah.
so.
Our attendance,
It's
not greatly what we thought it might be. is it?
Nah, it's almost, it's very comparable, I think. My notes say we were at 94.5.
Last year?
Yeah.
So actually, we were down a little bit.
Just a little bit, and that's all because of those 2 months right there.
Food bank.
Yep, we got hit hard.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's true.
If we take those out, what does it look like? I mean,
I'd have to figure it out, but it's much better than, it's somewhere around, I would guess around 95. I don't know that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'd say it's somewhere around 95, because we got hammered.
okay,
You know, I mean, look at the high school,
yeah, 91.
91, and then Triway, which is usually pretty solid, was 92.
Yeah.
It's good, it's
And-
gonna raise a little bit, not much.
Yeah, it's not gonna make a huge difference, but it raised it a little bit.
Summer school will help that some, won't it?
Yes, summer school, our summer school AD, ADA, our kids that we have in summer goes directly into our budgeting and our ADA for,
Do we know what that number is?
I don't know the yet.
Okay.
Okay, that's enrollment. Cash flow for, we got May and June on here. Big thing is, and the cash flow for June. The big thing is the big giant payment for, if you look at all our funds here, we've got, remember, we got June and the August payment in there as well. So that's why we have that huge drop, because our August payment was our payroll and bills were over $2 million for June, which covers August as well. So that's where we are. It's not good, but it's not, and we'll talk about that here in a second. If you look, we, our June payment was 2.4 million, almost $2.5 million, which is about right, is what it usually is. And our June and May revenues were, again, under that $1 million mark, which is where we are now. If you look in the last couple of years past, I looked the last couple of years, most of these numbers were over $1 million each month. And we're not gonna get back to that unless enrollment goes up. So that's what we've prepared for. At the end of the year, the deficit spent about $576,000 this year.
Is that about what we expected? Is that what
That's,
we
that's,
better?
yeah, that's a little bit, actually a little bit better than what you approved in last June. A little bit better.
So
So,
what does that do to our reserves?
I went from 14 to 7.
So right now, we're sitting at 7.2.
7.2%. And we'll talk about that in the fiscal year budget 18 that I've got here for you. And so we had a rough go there. If you look at my little, that's the big one right there. Revenue, and the big thing is this number right here, 632,000. Our revenue from 16-17 to 17-18, our state revenue and our total revenue went down $632,000. That's the hit. That's the big hit. If you look from 15-16 to 16-17, it actually went up $100,000. So that is what got us right there. So our deficit spending was 576, and if you look at it, the revenue was down 632, but spending was also down almost 390,000. So from 16-17 to 17-18, we saved about 386,000. but we also lost 632,000. So that's where the big hit came from. And what I wanted you to, I totaled this up, deficit spending the last 3 years, 383, 331, and then that's a big one right there. So, first of all, I want to say thank you, because I know the decisions we made going into next year were rough, but that's why we did this right here. That's why we made all those decisions and had the tough times this last fall and spring when we were making those decisions about not filling positions. That's why. Labor costs, our labor costs were actually down $400,000 from 16-17 to 17-18. Total labor costs, so that's a big savings. So we did make some preparations, but they weren't quite enough. But going forward, we're gonna be in a lot better shape going forward. Cost centers, we ended up saving just under $20,000 in transportation.
From the 4-day school, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Did anything else show savings? Electric or any of that? Could you tell?
I'm sorry, what?
Electric, you know,
No,
our bills.
electric, we got hammered.
It was a hard winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
electric, we got hammered. Where is that? Electric, we budgeted 237 and spent 291.
So the cost savings that we can see for the 4-day week is the 20,000 for the buses, and that's it?
No food savings, no, nothing there.
Wow.
Well, overall food savings, yes, but remember, we still have to pay, we're still paying for the actual food and those things. So I mean, wasn't a huge savings.
What about substitutes? Like, do we save some from that? I mean.
I'd have to
we
look
take
at
our-
that, I'm not sure. I can't give you an accurate, I could guess,
Look
but.
that one up and see what you
Yeah.
get.
So at the end of the day, we ended up spending about $32,000 more in our, in electric, trash and phone, natural gas. And so we did have some savings in some areas, but the electric crushed it, really hurt us.
But with the solar, I mean, we should start seeing a.
Well, we only had solar for partial January.
Wasn't
So
very much.
full year that should help, and the estimated on that savings is 35,000
Per year.
per year.
It'll help.
It'll help. We are not destitute. Don't let people think we're destitute. We're not. It's a lean year. We're gonna be all right. We've prepared for it. So don't make sure people aren't panicking if you get questions. We're not, I did have the question, is the state gonna come in and take over the school? No. We're not in financial destitute. We're not in that area. Is it a lean year? Yes. Are we gonna struggle for a couple years? Probably. But we have prepared, the preparations we made this year are going to be beneficial in the next couple of years.
Well, if we went down 7%
We
in
can
our
go down
deficit
that.
spending, 7% next year would put us at 0.
We're not gonna deficit spend next year.
That's why we made all the changes.
Yes, we can't. That's why we did that. So that would never happen again. So I know that was rough, that was hard, but that's why we did that.
I mean, you're thinking us, but I think you too, because
Well, and we'll talk about it here when we get to the
Budget.
the 18 budget. And what you've got it in front of you, and just basically a description of everything that we did. And then I've got two budgets on you. I've got the budget I would like you to approve, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then the best case scenario budget. If everything goes perfectly the way we'd like it to, it's there and shows what we do, and the other one is just that. So I don't wanna jump the gun, we'll get to that in a minute.
What did the solar panels cost us?
Oh, shoot.
Do we know?
we had all that last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, right off the top of my head.
Okay, thanks. That's okay, that's okay.
I
'Cause I don't remember.
I could go look it up real quick. I can tell you right afterwards.
Okay.
So that is our financial report. We ended the year with $1.3, is that what it was? $1.6 million in the bank. And then that's all funds, so We still, so we're not destitute. We ended the year with $1.6 million in assets.
Well, we took the big loss in the enrollment,
Right.
and that was huge.
That, yeah,
That hurt
that's,
us.
I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. That, right, that number right there, the state, funding going from 13.8 to 13.1, almost 13.2, that's it.
Yeah.
But
We,
we're
we,
still
won't-
kinda,
we won't have that again. We
still
shouldn't
stacked
have,
for the
right.
bigger.
We shouldn't have that kind of drop again. It should be a much more gradual drop. Because we were coming off a high year and got slammed. So it shouldn't do that again.
That's 2/3 of a month of our budget, really. Almost, not a month, but
Uh,
getting close.
yeah, we'll build it back up, so. Okay, that is my report. Any questions? If not, again, don't panic. We're all right. We'll get it, we'll come back.
Operations.
All right. Tuesday night, you guys all noticed the storm, right? We got hit by lightning again.
Imagine that.
It got the well drive, it got the, security system, got the access control. It's all up and going.
How much did that cost us?
The well, we had the drive on hand, it was, what we paid $2,000 for last year. I haven't got the bill on the other stuff yet.
Well, you couldn't have told the water company, hey, hook me up early?
I've been visiting with her already, we'll talk about that next. Track update, they've put the structural spray on, now all we have is waiting for them to repaint it, restripe it. So that's supposed to happen towards the end of next week, it was gonna happen into this week, weather kept them from it, so. High school water hookup, I've been talking with Robert Tomlinson, they've got it in the works. They're gonna let me know a few days beforehand, it'll be this month sometime, so. Also at the Rock Building, that water line is busted, it's galvanized, and it goes under, sidewalk. So the second week in July, we'll have it, I've got a company coming in to take care of it, because they're gonna have to bore underneath the, sidewalk, and it'll be less than $8,000 to bore underneath that sidewalk, so. Eric was saying it's
I can cut
$10,000.
that sidewalk for about $100.
Yeah. Then the radon grant that we got, I know I explained the last time that they wanted us to do a diagnostics test. That was 11,000. The grant was for 9. They said do it. There'll be the money in there. Diagnostic test comes back. It's going to be, he's estimated between $75,000 and $90,000. Well, what's the health department say now? We just have $5,000 left for you. So we will do the system that's available there. There's possible 14 systems that they want to do. We can't afford to do all 14. We'll do it'll probably be one system that we do, and that's probably in the area that's the worst. So that's what we'll do there. And then talking to the health department, they're hoping they'll get that grant again next year. She's still working because some of the schools are not doing it, so there may be a little bit more money. So we'll catch some of that.
So we will pay for as much as we can do from the grant,
Yeah.
and no more. So that's what that means. Whatever grant money we get, we will do.
Yep,
So,
sounds good, yeah.
yep.
That's all I have on the update.
Summer projects?
We got several going. Of course, we got painting, have the wood projects. Carpet will start Monday. We'll start at Granby, doing the library. Then they'll go to the high school, then go to Triway. We'll have, the bathroom floor renovation at Triway for the K1s, and the 5A is supposed to start July 16th. That water line will start the second week in July. We're putting safe film on the entrances to all 3 schools. It'll be the 16th when it starts. So, and then we're adding access control, safety film.
Oh, same.
Yeah, put it on the windows. What it does, it takes them probably closer to 6 minutes to break through if they have that much energy to do it. So,
And that goes on which doors?
all entry doors, all 3 campuses.
Some bullets, it'll stop some bullets too.
Really?
They're not gonna claim
They're
that.
not claiming that. I saw
I
video.
don't-
of it.
They're not gonna claim that.
They won't claim
Who
it.
puts that on?
It's Carfi, South Springfield, who
Oh.
do that.
Remember, we talked about this is one of the safety, the very,
Right.
very inexpensive
Yeah.
safety measures. That's what those are.
And then the panic buttons that we talked about, we're gonna put, each secretary will have one in their office
And those
The
will
three
be up and
campuses.
going before school
before
starts.
school starts. That's the game plan,
Okay.
yeah. And then asphalt repairs, supposed to be the middle of July. And then the door.
That'd be nice and cool when they do that.
Yeah.